Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Eric with SuperTech University, and today I want to do an overview of DISC. Some of you that have been around for a while, this is old hat, but look, it's always good to just continuously work on our skills with understanding the big picture of DISC because it really helps us out in the field and it helps us at the shop with all of our coworkers, right? So, four main DISC personality profiles. D stands for dominant, I stands for influencer, S stands for support, and C stands for competence. Okay. So D's fuel is winning, right? They're very competitive people. They want to win at all costs. Okay. I's, their fuel is fun. They want to have lots of friends. They want to party. They want to, everything has to be a good time, right? So that's an I. S, safe. They want stability. They want security. They want safety. They want their life to be calm. Okay, no drama. And then for C, it's about being right. It's about being accurate. It's about understanding something. It's about making sure that they have done all the research and know exactly what they're going to do before they do it. Okay, so we basically have these four styles. We all have a little bit of all of it in us, right? You have a score in your D section, you have a score in your I and your S and your C. So every one of us has some of these traits, all four. But generally, we will have a dominant trait. Okay. So, as far as the D's go, we can figure out somebody's a D by really finding out the answer to two questions. Do they move quickly? D's and I's want to do everything fast. Okay. But D's differ from I's in they're very task oriented. Like, what do I got to do to win? What do I got to do? How many sales do we have to make? What are the numbers? How long do I have to finish this project? What do I get at the end of this project? Right. It's all checklist, task. Where I's are people driven, right? They want to move quick. They want to do things really fast, just like a D, but they want to do it around people. They want to do it with, hey, when are we going to go to that party? How long before I get out of work and go to the brew pub tonight? How many clients are going to be at the Chamber of Commerce event that I'm going to see today, right? Totally different ways of viewing the world, even though they both like to move quickly. C's and S's like to move at a more deliberate pace, more chill, more like just one step at a time, right? So much more deliberate. The S's, however, are people-oriented, just like the I's. They want to make sure that they have time to spend with their friends. They want to make sure that they're asking you a bunch of questions so that you feel comfortable with them. They would like the same in return, right? They're moving at a completely different pace than these two people, right? So even though an I and an S are both people-oriented, their interactions with people are going to be way different. This I is probably going to have 2,436 friends. This S might have 10, but they're going to go way deeper with those 10, right? Then the C is also deliberate, but like the D, they're task driven too. What do I have to do? What are all the steps that I have to do to make sure this job went right? How many manuals do I need to read to make sure I feel totally comfortable installing this new water heater? Right? It's all task driven, but the pace, unlike a D, is much different, right? So you can see between these four, right, we're all people, but we're all thinking completely differently. So I always talk about the two questions. There's two questions you need to be able to identify in somebody to kind of get a feel for who they are, right? So if I walk in and I'm talking to Mrs. Jones and she's talking really fast, but doesn't seem to want to get to know me at all, just wants me to go get to work, she's probably a D. If I go talk to Mr. Jones and he's super friendly and talks fast and is all about action, but all he keeps asking is, how many kids do you have? How long have you been married? What do you like to do in your free time? He's going to be an I because he's people driven, but he's also fast. Now, if I go meet Mrs. Smith and she's an S, she's going to be asking me all kinds of questions like, how long will you be in my house? How long is the warranty? How do I know that this is going to work okay? Like, is my family going to be safe? Right. So she's asking me lots of people oriented questions, probably, but she's doing it in a much kind of slower, more chill manner. Right. She's trying to figure out, is she safe or not? And then lastly, that C, I got to figure out, okay, they seem to move more deliberately, not talking fast, not doing that. But all of a sudden they're, asking me every single detail about maybe the part that I'm going to put in or the process of me replacing whatever it is that's going to be replaced, right? So they're moving slower, but they're asking me all task-oriented questions. So, that C is probably not going to ask me anything about myself, potentially, right? So look, those two questions can really help you figure out who you're dealing with. And then once you can figure that out, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to be able to cater your message as you're dealing with them to something that they would like, right? So quickly, if I had a D client and I could figure out quickly that she's Mrs. Jones, this is D, I got to tell her, like, it's going to be this much, it's going to be done by this time, and we're the best, and let's go. Right? That's going to be the language that she would speak, and then each one is a little different. So, anyway, guys, just an overview. Think about the two questions. Think about what drives each of these four, and it makes your life a lot easier on the field. It's like having the rules to a game and nobody else knows them. It's a big, big deal. All right, you guys have an awesome day in the field. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Erica SuperTech University. Thanks a lot.